The following program on PBS 39 is made possible in part by
Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
For nearly 60 years, Arts United has worked to bring the rich, diverse talents of our region together through support of the arts, socially, culturally, and economically. Arts United, providing a home for the arts in Northeast Indiana.
This is Arts Weekly. Arts Weekly is produced in cooperation with the College of Visual and Performing Arts at IPFW, offering degrees in fine arts, music, theater, and visual communication and design.
Welcome to Arts Weekly. I'm John O'Connell, Dean of the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. In the second half of the show, Dr. Joyanne Outland and Dr. Hamilton Tescarollo from the IPFW Department of Music will be here to talk about the many exciting piano events happening on campus this spring and summer. But first, I'm joined by Jim Gabbard and Bob Schrader, who are curating the upcoming IPFW faculty exhibit, Creative Motivations, opening February 24th. Gentlemen, welcome to Arts Weekly, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm very excited about this exhibit because it's the first ever exhibit of all faculty from the Department of Fine Arts, the Department of Visual Communication and Design, and Interior Design, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
We've never had a show with everybody in it at the same time.
No.
And Bob, why are we doing that?
Well, for the NASAD accreditation visit that's happening a little bit later in March.
NASAD is the National Association of Schools of Art and Design.
It's an accrediting organization that coordinates, it was founded in 1944. There are about 320 members in the United States, and it gives credential to what we do.
Right. Well, you're both curators for this event.
Correct.
And what does that mean?
We assembled the show. We worked with all of the faculty members to gather up what pieces were available, what they chose to show. And so we're putting together the exhibition in the gallery space so that it looks like it's supposed to be there.
But you're both on faculty to some extent.
Yes.
Bob, let's start with you. You're in what department?
Fine arts. I teach metalsmithing. I'm an associate faculty member and teaching metalsmithing in Fine Arts Department. I've been teaching metalsmithing there since 1994.
Well, for those of us that are ignorant, metalsmithing is not blacksmith,
no,
which I thought it was. It's something else.
Silversmithing.
Silversmithing. Okay.
Most famous American silversmith was Paul Revere, probably. And we use mostly copper, a lot of pewter, some silver, very little gold, but some gold.
And the facility at IPFW can handle your...
The facility at IPFW is incredible. It's one of the best undergraduate metalsmithing studios in the United States. And I'd say that I've had people in the field visit and tell me that, so I'm not just making that up.
Okay. And you have a degree in...
I have an undergraduate degree and a Master of Fine Arts in metalsmithing from the University of Wisconsin.
Great. Well, we're lucky to have you.
And I'm happy to be here.
Mr. Gabbard, you work in what department?
I teach in the Department of Visual Communication and Design. I teach imaging and photography. I teach mostly photography.
Well, I think for our viewers who don't understand what that means, we have two departments at IPFW. Correct. The Department of Fine Arts, which is painting, ceramics, metalsmithing, drawing, printmaking,
sculpture.
Right. But then if we go to the more commercial arts, that's the Department of Visual Communication and Design.
Right, which includes imaging and photography, which is what I teach in, and then we have modeling and animation, and then we have graphic design incorporates into that field.
Right, which has a lot of students in graphic
design is by far the biggest single concentration in that department, yes.
Right, it's all the students who played with computer graphics in high school who are sure they know everything about graphic design until they arrive at IPFW and have to pick up a pencil
and
draw.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Yeah, they're like, wait, what am I doing here?
Right.
Great. Well, you're a curator, so does that mean that you each curate for your department?
Correct.
How many
we
shows
do
a year?
3 shows a year, and including senior thesis, and then another show outside of that, a visiting artist or a faculty member that might have an exhibit. Yes.
And where? Where do you curate? What, in the gallery?
Well, we have our visiting artists or our faculty in our gallery, and then for our senior thesis, we'll have it outside in a location in the community. A downtown public library is one where we held our spring exhibit.
And it's not a very large space.
No, the Fine Arts Department, the Visual Arts Building Gallery, is sort of a rehabbed entrance hallway. It wasn't built as a gallery, it's been made into a gallery. Actually, I think it's one of the best and most traveled art gallery spaces in this area, if you consider how many people go through there every day.
Right.
It's a great place to show. Hundreds of people see it during the week, and so it gets a lot of exposure. But it's not built as a gallery per se.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the show that's coming up on the 24th. The opening for the show, the actual opening, is what day?
Well, the reception is Wednesday the 26th from 5 to 7. The show opens to the public at 8 a.m. on Monday the 24th, and it'll be there available 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. So 7 days a week through April 1st. So people are welcome to visit at almost any time during the week and see it.
And as we said at the top of the segment, this is for the accreditation process of the National Association of Schools of Art and Design. Why is that important?
Well, it puts us in a pool with other schools in the country who are recognized, and it gives sort of the credential to our teaching processes, and means that we're doing it the way we're supposed to be doing it.
Generally, these accrediting bodies, if you will, have a set of standards that they expect their members to meet on a regular basis. And this is the first time these 3 departments in 2 different colleges will be going up for this process. And part of that process is that when the visitors come, faculty work and student work must be on display.
They see the work, yes.
They see the work that's done. Let's talk a little bit about the work. Bob, let's start with your work as a metalsmith. You have an image. What image do you have? What are you putting in the show?
It's a box. It's a reliquary, and it's in the shape of a piece of furniture. It's a small sofa shape, but the cushions are the lid, the pillows are the handle. You can lift it up and open it up, and you can see a lot of images that are inlaid. It's mostly constructed of copper, but the images are silver inlaid lines.
I think we have a photo of it on our screen for our viewers right now. It's a little misleading because it looks like the size of a couch.
It looks like the size of a couch.
Yeah.
It's
a
about
really hard couch.
It's about 9 inches wide and 4 inches deep and about 4.5 inches tall. They're small, but they're meant to be handled and held. The thing about copper, the reason I use copper mostly is because it reacts to your body, reacts to everybody a little bit differently because everyone's pH is a little different. And so it tracks who's handled it. It has a very soft, warm glow. If you don't handle copper for a while, it kind of dies.
Doesn't it turn green?
Well, it sort of does, but it's like, think of a brass doorknob on a house that's abandoned. It's dead. After it stops being used, it really doesn't have a glow to it. But once you start opening that door again, your body oil reacts with the metal and that patina comes back. And so if you handle the pieces regularly, the silver doesn't tarnish, the copper has that sort of warm glow, and it reflects who's handled it because of the person's pH.
I've seen the piece before. I didn't know that it was a box.
Yeah, it's a box,
and
they're meant to be explored. But when you see them in an exhibition, they're hard to explore. You can't let everyone handle them; they'll be damaged. So they're in a case. But when you open them up, you'll find a lot of inlaid images throughout, on the back, on the underside, on the inside, and they tell a story. And then I create a collage that goes along with that sculpture of all the parts, all the paper parts and all the writing, all the articles, the photos I used that show the story. So if you can't explore the box, you can at least get some of the idea from and the images from the collage.
Jim, your piece is a photograph.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. It's on the screen now.
Well, this is titled All Those Years, and this was taken during last year's trip to a place called Cienfuegos in the Dominican Republic. IPFW has helped sponsor me going down there for 3 years. I just returned from my last trip about 2.5 weeks ago. This was taken last year. Old woman just sitting on a staircase, and I just felt it was a gorgeous image. I went over and asked her if she'd allow me to take the photograph, and she consented, and I did. And it looked better in black and white than it did color. It worked very well in black and white.
Well, yes, you know, it looks like a painting.
Yeah.
People try to make paintings look like photographs.
Yeah, exactly.
And now I see this looks like a painting to me, even though it's a photograph.
Right, and
I
it's
like
one
that
of my
reversal.
favorite images. It's been shown in L.A. and it just recently won an award from Professional Photographers of Indiana. Gave it a Blue Ribbon Award for black and white photography.
Congratulations. Yeah. In the short time we have left, let's zip through some of the other images so you can tell us who will be in the show. We have some other images. This is Professor Andres Montenegro. He is an animator, correct?
Yes, and that's one of the interesting things about this show is we have animation next to painting, we have painting next to metalsmith, so it's going to be a very creative and diverse show.
And the next image is a painting
Gregor's.
by Gregor Roth, teaches in VCD.
And this is a drawing by John Rayhoff.
This is a drawing by John Rayhoff, who's the chair of fine arts.
It's a graphite drawing.
It's
very meticulous.
It is meticulous. That's the one thing you can say
yes.
about Professor Rayhoff's work. It's very, very meticulous, and he likes to work with line.
Well, interesting point that you made, John, when we first started about students and in animation and having to use a pencil and draw. Everything starts with a pencil. Everything starts with the concept and the idea, and then it progresses through the pencil into the medium that you've chosen to explore. But drawing is critical for every art form.
Foundations. Foundations of art. What are the particulars? The show opens on the 24th.
Correct.
The opening is on the 26th. And how does anyone get information regarding this show? They can go to...
They go to the IPFW website and find the Fine Arts Department or the Department of Visual Communication and Design.
So www.ipfw.edu/finearts, or they can call for more information 260-481-6977, 260-481-6977, and the show, Creative Motivations, IPFW Faculty 2014, of the Department of Fine Arts, the Department of Visual Communication and Design, and Interior Design program on display on the IPFW campus February 24th through April 1st. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
I look forward to the show.
Thank you.
I was in the hallway.
It's going to be
There's a
great.
bit of work to do between now and 8 o'clock Monday morning.
But it's going to be great, and this is setting a precedent for all of these faculty members to work together and to get to know each other, which is interesting because even though it's not that big of a place, if you don't cross paths, you don't know each other.
Well, thank you for joining me on Arts Weekly. After this short break, we'll hear more about the IPFW Department of Music's many spring and summer piano events. So please take this minute to view our performance calendar of what's coming up in our area. We'll be right back with Dr. Joyanne Outland and Dr. Hamilton Tescarollo. IPFW's Piano Performance Program is going strong, and the Piano Studio Showcase, featuring a varied and exciting program of solo piano music, will take place Tuesday, February 25th in the Reinhardt Recital Hall. With me to discuss their piano program, as well as the many other piano opportunities at IPFW, are IPFW Assistant Professor Dr. Joyanne Outland and IPFW Associate Professor and Director of Keyboard Studies, Dr. Hamilton Tescarollo. Welcome to Arts Weekly, and thank you for joining me.
Great to be here.
I'm very excited about the showcase coming up. you've got some really talented students who are going to be performing.
Yes, we do.
Let's, Joyanne, let's talk a little bit with you first, a little bit about your past. How long have you been at IPFW, and what brought you here?
Probably about 25 to 27 years, something like that. It's been a long time.
I know we should have a cake or something.
It's long enough that I've stopped counting.
You know where all the skeletons are in the closet.
Probably a lot of them. Yeah, yeah.
And did you come in the piano program?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I was hired originally as an associate faculty member to teach piano, private piano, and also theory, music theory.
Boy, that was long before we had this beautiful Reinhardt building and this incredible facility.
I've seen all the changes. This building is remarkable.
It's something to really celebrate, isn't it? Yeah. Dr. Hamilton Tescarollo, welcome. How long have you been at IPFW?
Since 2007.
Oh, we arrived at the same time. That's right. I think I knew that.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Which might have been the same year that the Reinhardt building opened up, if I'm not.
That's right.
Yes, it is. He was.
I like to joke that it was built for me, but of course that's not the case.
I've seen your piano studio. I'd have to say that maybe he's right, wouldn't you?
I think so.
The only bad thing about his piano studio is all that light that comes in, some incredible windows, but it's refreshing to play in that space.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, it's a beautiful space, and we're so fortunate to have the beautiful performance halls, especially the recital halls where we have all the piano recitals. It's works beautifully acoustically.
Now that's the Reinhardt Recital Hall.
Right.
Right.
Talk a little bit about what that is compared to, I think a lot of people might know the Our Hall,
Right.
which is the very large
Right.
1,500 seat house. But talk a little bit about the other hall, the Reinhardt Hall.
So the Reinhardt is a 250 seat auditorium, and it's an intimate space, but large enough to have a good crowd for solo recitals, chamber music. So all of the piano recitals happen there. Most faculty recitals, student recitals happen in that space, and of course the large ensembles perform typically in the larger hall. So.
Well, the acoustics are great in both facilities,
Oh, definitely.
but the acoustics in that smaller one are really conducive to the kind of work you want to show off.
Oh, sure.
They're really special. We've had a convention here, a state convention with music teachers, music professors from other institutions around the state that were completely jealous of our facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely enamored with
They were.
two halls.
They were very jealous. They were
Yeah.
very jealous, which was nice to be on the receiving end of.
Absolutely. What does it mean to have a showcase? Who will be in it, and is it a requirement of your students?
Well, it's part of their studies. So the students that will be performing in this recital are representing all the students that have piano as their main instrument. And as a side note, all of the music majors take piano. So, there are more than 150 students taking piano.
Really?
All of the more than 150 students.
All 160 have to plunk a piano at some point?
piano at some point, yes. Right.
Wow,
But
I wish I'd had that when I was studying.
But we're not going to have that many performing in this recital. Those who are performing in this recital are those who have piano as their main instrument and representing students from the various degrees that we offer. So music therapy, music education, music in an outside field, including audio technology students.
Do your vocal students take piano?
Yes. In fact, they take and study first in that electronic piano lab that we recently got that wonderful grant for.
Absolutely.
Right. So all of the students in the music school are benefiting from that because they're strangely pleased with that.
Right. It is 12 or 15 pianos in the
It's
studio?
10.
10.
It's 10.
10
It's
pianos
10
in the
plus
studio.
the 10 students plus the teachers.
The teacher. And what Dr. Outland is speaking about is that now there are 10 pianos for students to work on that can be electronically plugged into the teacher's monitor. So the teacher can hear individual students playing. And prior to that upgrade, just happened a month ago,
We couldn't.
you couldn't. You had to listen
No.
to it live, and everybody had to take their
And
turn.
you had to shout across the room when you
Right.
were talking to them.
Well, it's just, it must be a godsend to have that
It
sort
is.
of thing. Well,
Right.
good.
So all of the students that don't have piano as main instrument study
there.
in that lab. Yeah. Right. And also piano performance majors will be performing at the recital. So that's a cross section of all of the degrees, and also between freshmen all the way through seniors. and as well as music minors. So there, we have 2 music minors that are pianists as well that will be also performing in the recital. So it's a
full evening. Well,
right.
we said in the intro that it was a varied evening of music. What does that mean? Some people will be doing classical. Will some be doing jazz?
It's all classical.
All
but you know, we are so lucky as pianists to have so much repertory, whether it's within classical, and you know, there is even more if we include other genres. But so some students will be performing Beethoven, Haydn, Clementi, Schumann, Chopin, Mendelssohn, Debussy, all the way to
stuff.
Rachmaninoff,
It's big stuff.
and Copland. So you know, everything from, let's say, Debussy's Clair de Lune to Rachmaninoff's Corelli Variations, which is a huge, very virtuosic piece.
Right.
So everything in between.
The purpose of that recital is really 2 parts. It's actually for the benefit of the students also, because it gives them experience and it provides a goal for them. They all have to play recitals. The performance majors play junior and senior, and everybody else, all degrees, all students play senior recitals. And so this prepares them for that, but also it's a chance for us to showcase the work of our entire studio is just about. So.
And is this a once-a-year event, the piano
This
showcase?
actually happens every semester.
It does.
Right. Yeah.
So it's something that they kind of prepare for several weeks ahead of time. It's the end game, if you will, of what they're working on in their studios.
Sure. Yeah, and they prepare typically for months at a time, because you know, these are pieces that have to go through a long process of getting from the base, you know, first stages.
I think we have a tape of one of your rather star students,
Yes.
Jason
Simon.
Right.
Sure.
Let us go to that tape and have our viewers listen to that concert a little bit. That's all I can say. Makes me jealous.
It is pretty spectacular.
He's a terrific student. Is he a senior?
He is a senior right now. This is from one of the previous showcases from a couple years ago, and so he's graduating this semester. He was actually one of my students in high school as well, so he's been with me for quite a number of years. This is the 6th year, and he's now auditioning for grad school, so he's you know.
That, I have to say, as an educator, isn't that the most rewarding thing?
Definitely.
Is having students who you see from beginning to end. And then, you know, I have emails from students I had 12 years ago. I love that part of education, is making that long-term connection to
Yeah,
students.
and our own students from years ago are sending us students now. We're getting their students, so we're like second generation.
That's the advantage of having a music education program within our
Well, actually,
program.
this is music ed, but also this is like just piano people
Right.
in lots of different degrees.
Right.
And they go out and teach, and then they...
Well, our
we get
piano
those
program
students.
is really connected to the community in several avenues.
Right.
Probably the primary avenue would be our IPFW Community Arts Academy.
Right.
Now, Joyanne, you teach during the year in that program, is that correct? Or?
Yes, well, both of us do.
Oh, you both
actually.
do? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. All right, so
Yeah.
you do during the, so you take students from the community that you teach after school and
Yes,
at other
primarily. There are a lot of homeschool students these days, and as well as adults that study with us during the day. So it's sort of become an all day long sporadic.
I guess they have to fit into your your
well,
calendar
yes,
when the time comes.
they're at the mercy of our
Right.
schedules.
Right.
Right.
But then we have a really exciting summer event. Let's talk a little
Right.
bit about the Gene Marcus competition and camp, if you would, Hamilton.
It's a great event that we started 2 years ago. This will be the third event. They are two separate events, but somewhat connected. The piano competition is open to students up to age 18, so pre-college, including very young students, 9 and younger is the youngest category. And they come from within 100 miles of Fort Wayne. So students within that area can compete for cash prizes, scholarships, and the winners recital actually last year was broadcast on PBS, was recorded and broadcast. So this was really a very exciting event.
We here at PBS loved having that event,
that's right,
and we
that's right.
showed it a few times,
right,
because it was so exciting. Yeah, it was a terrific
so
event.
that's really so exciting to see all the students, performing so well and really excited about piano. And the camp is the other side of that is actually getting there, working on their skills, working on developing their playing, their performance abilities, their performance experience. And it's a week-long event open to students that are between 12 and 18. And they can come from anywhere, basically. It's not restricted to those 100 miles.
They have the ability to live on campus.
They can live on campus,
Right.
or they can be commuters. Right. And they work with us in lessons, master classes. We include the Alexander technique in the camp. We usually have guest artists come and do a recital. And
what is the contact information for the Gene Marcus?
They can go to the CAA website, which is ipfw.edu/CAA, and click on the links there.
And for the showcase, they can see ipfw.edu/concerts or call 260-481-6555. 481-6555. Thank you both for joining me on Arts Weekly.
Thank you so much.
And I really look forward to the concert next Tuesday night, correct?
Thank you.
Great. I'm John O'Connell, Dean of the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. Please join me next time on Arts Weekly when I'll visit with Lee Rowan of Fort Wayne's Farmers Market. Then Carlene Krause and Monica Zwick will be here to talk about the upcoming 40th anniversary of the Bishop Luers Shore Choir Invitational. For up-to-the-minute arts updates, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And be sure to join us here live Thursday evenings at 7:30 on PBS 39. Thanks for watching Arts Weekly.
The preceding program on PBS 39 was made possible in part by
Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
For nearly 60 years, Arts United has worked to bring the rich, diverse talents of our region together through support of the arts, socially, culturally, and economically. Arts United, providing a home for the arts in Northeast Indiana.